International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
In today's top stories, here in Algiers at an inter-ministerial council meeting chaired by Premier Sifi Gharib, devoted to assessing the progress made as part of the integrated phosphate project. Measures have been taken to meet the deadline set by the President of the Republic by 2026. Algeria has strongly condemned the atrocities committed by the Rapid Support paramilitary forces in Al-Fasher in Sudan, as well as any foreign interference seeking to fuel the conflict. The Israeli occupying authorities' decision to extend their control over the West Bank has triggered off many condemnations, notably by the UN and the Arab League, rejecting the move as running counter all peace projects. Hello and welcome to Radio Algeria International. I'm Jamal Salmani. Prime Minister Sifi Gharib has chaired a meeting of the Inter-Ministerial Council devoted to reviewing the state of progress made as part of the integrated phosphate project structured across the three wilayas, namely Tebessa, Soghras and Annaba. This project is important for the development of the national mining and industrial sector based on exploited reserves of 840 million tons of phosphate and aiming for an annual production of 10.5 million tons of raw phosphate. During the meeting, measures were taken to strengthen intersectorial synergy and mobilize all the means required to meet the deadline set by the President of the Republic for the completion of this project scheduled for the end of 2026. Now, the High Commissioner for Digitization with the ministerial ranks, Mr. Mariam Ben Mouloud, has stated that the launch of the National Data Governance Framework marks a decisive turning point in the digital transformation process in Algeria. In a speech delivered during the official launch ceremony of this framework, chaired by the Prime Minister, Mr. Sifi Gharib, Ms. Mariam Ben Mouloud stated that the National Data Governance Framework marks a decisive turning point in Algeria's digital transformation, resulting from the High Commission for Digitization's coordinated efforts with ministerial sectors, agencies, and digital actors aligned with President Abdelmadjid Tebboun's political vision and ongoing technological developments. Ms. Ben Mouloud stated that the national model establishes a unified technical and regulatory framework built on technological pillars and strategic projects like the National Digital Transformation Strategy under Algeria Digital 2030, emphasizing that data is now a key resource for the state, guiding decision-making, public policy, and public service development. Al Jaish magazine, in its February issue, highlighted that Algeria, despite all attempts towards distortion, lies, and slander, continues its promising national renaissance project, in which it wrote, "We are all engaged in completing with full determination and resolve." More details with Masoud Sharfi.
In its editorial Consolidating Sovereignty, the magazine highlighted that Algerians take pride in building the nation's future with dedication, while the People's National Army, heir to the National Liberation Army, diligently fulfills its constitutional duties, supporting major development projects and ensuring the security, stability, and resilience of the country. The magazine highlighted a historic economic milestone with President Abdelmadjid Tebboun's announcement of the 950 kilometers West Mining Railway line from Bashar to Tindouf to Gharaj Bilat, and the first iron ore shipments to Oran, describing the project as a strategic achievement once considered unattainable, realized through national determination and mobilization of all resources. The magazine highlighted Algeria's progress in reducing reliance on hydrocarbons and advancing space and geospatial technologies with satellites, Alsat 3A and 3B. These achievements coincide with February's historic commemoration, including National Martyrs' Day, the Saqi Sidi Youssef massacre, nuclear testing in 1960, the founding of the General Union of Algerian Workers, nationalization of hydrocarbons, recovery of Mirz al-Kabir, and the National Day of Brotherhood. It stressed that honoring Algeria's heroes inspired determination in completing the National Renaissance project, noting the country's stability and strategic progress despite obstructive attempts, and affirming that all hostile schemes and disinformation campaigns will fail. The magazine concluded by asserting that these misleading campaigns remain nonsense, lacking any professionalism, reflecting the confusion, despair, and extreme moral decline of their authors.
Now, the president of the Algerian Economic Renewal Council, Mr. Kamel Mullah, has discussed with the vice president of the International Finance Corporation for Africa, Etiopis Tafara, the prospects for strengthening cooperation and partnership in a number of sectors. The meeting focused on exchanging expertise and strengthening partnerships in energy, agriculture, and health security, including the pharmaceutical industry, as well as leveraging the International Finance Corporation's mechanisms to support Algerian companies' access to African markets. The two sides also agreed to set up a joint committee to develop and monitor a roadmap to strengthen Algerian companies' international presence. The International Finance Corporation is a member of the World Bank Group and the world's largest development institution. The Director General of the World Health Organization, WHO, Mr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, has praised the priority given by Algeria under the impetus of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, to work carried out in areas essential to protecting and promoting the health of Algerians. More details with Masoud Shafi.
In a post on X, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus praised his exchanges held with Professor Kamal Sanhaji, President of the National Agency of Health Security, ANSS, and their agreement to strengthen cooperation between Algeria and the World Health Organization, WHO. This followed a bilateral meeting held on the sidelines of the 158th session of the Executive Board of the World Health Organization in Geneva, Switzerland, attended by Mr. Rashid Beladhan, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Algeria to the United Nations Office and International Organization in Geneva, and senior WHO officials. The two parties discussed consolidated resilient health systems to meet current and future challenges, covering health emergency, preparedness and response, regional cooperation, health surveillance, implementation of the international health regulations, IHR, cross-border collaboration, South-South and triangular cooperation, as well as local production of medicines and other health technologies.
Now, the new Vatican ambassador, Mr. Javier Herrera Corona, has emphasized here in Algiers the importance of the upcoming visit of Pope Leo XIV to Algeria, noting that it will contribute to strengthening the bonds of friendship and mutual respect between Algeria and the State of the Vatican City. In a statement to the press after handing over his letters of credence to the President of the Republic in his capacity as the new Vatican ambassador to Algeria, Mr. Herrera described his meeting as very cordial, highlighting over 50 years of Algeria-Holy See relations and noting that the upcoming visit of Pope Leo XIV will strengthen the bonds of friendship and mutual respect between the two countries. In the same regard, after presenting their letters of credence to President Abdelmajid Tebboune, the new ambassadors of Spain, Ghana and Namibia to Algeria highlighted strong and growing ties. Spain's ambassador, Mr. Ramiro Fernandez Bachile, emphasized excellent bilateral relations and the desire to deepen cooperation in political, economic, cultural and security fields. Ghana's ambassador praised the President's leadership in major projects like the West Mining Line, aiming to strengthen investments, trade and air links. Namibia's ambassador also stressed the importance of promoting economic relations alongside political ties, noting Algeria's support and the long-standing friendship existing between the two countries. Now to the Middle East. The Israeli occupying authorities' decision to extend their control over the West Bank has triggered off many condemnations, notably by the UN and the Arab League, rejecting the move as running counter all peace prospects. In this respect, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres expressed deep concern at the decisions recently taken by the Zionist authorities, warning that such measures undermine the prospects for a two-state solution.
He reiterates that all Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem and their associated regime and infrastructure, have no legal validity and are in flagrant violation of international law, including relevant United Nations resolutions. Such actions, including Israel's continuing presence in the occupied Palestinian territory, are not only destabilizing, but, as recalled by the International Court of Justice, unlawful. The Secretary General calls on Israel to reverse these measures and all parties to preserve the only path to lasting peace, which is a negotiated settlement for a two-state solution in line with relevant Security Council resolutions and international law.
In a similar move, the United Kingdom condemned the Israeli decision, saying it considered any unilateral attempt to alter the demographic or geographical composition of Palestine as totally unacceptable. And this came as a representative of the State of Palestine to UN, Riyad Mansour, said it was necessary that the UN Security Council take action within the respect of UN resolutions and to hold the Israeli occupying authorities responsible for all serious violations of the Council's decisions and the UN Charter. Now to Africa. The international non-governmental organization Oxfam has announced that in South Sudan, more than 10 million people, or about two-thirds of the population, will need humanitarian aid in 2026. Masoud Sharfi has more in this report.
According to its figures, 7.5 million people will be at risk of famine, and the escalating conflict in South Sudan is likely to worsen an already extremely difficult situation. The organization is particularly concerned about the situation in Jonglei State, where fighting is depriving families of food, clean water, and urgent humanitarian aid. Due to the conflict, Oxfam has been forced to suspend its support to more than 400,000 people in the region. The source said families are being forced to move to areas where conditions are already horrific. Some are injured and struggle to move around. Many are threatened with starvation and have to drink water from polluted rivers and swamps. The situation is beyond desperate. The organization added that in January alone, more than 400 cases of cholera were recorded in South Sudan, and the situation will only get worse as more and more people are forced to leave their homes. With the rainy season approaching in March, access to humanitarian aid will be even more restricted as roads become impassable, putting already affected communities on the brink of survival. The Oxfam statement stressed that people of South Sudan urgently need an end to this conflict so that they can obtain food, urging all parties to the conflict to ensure safe access to humanitarian aid.
As you followed in our top stories, Algeria has strongly condemned the atrocities committed by the rapid support paramilitary forces in Al-Fashir in Sudan, reaffirming its commitment to the sovereignty of the country. During a meeting of the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva on the human rights situation in and around Al-Fashir, Algeria's representative Ms. Celia Alwani Arous has also expressed Algeria's condemnation regarding any foreign interference in Sudan's internal affairs seeking to fuel the conflict.
Algeria strongly condemns the atrocities committed by the rapid support forces during their assault on Al-Fashir after 18 months of inhuman siege marked by suffering, starvation and despair. We echo the call of the African Union Peace and Security Council that the RSF and their enablers must be held accountable. We express our deep concern over the situation in the region of Kordofan. After the horror witnessed in Al-Fashir, we cannot allow another civilian catastrophe to unfold on our watch. The protection of civilian and civilian infrastructures must remain our absolute priority. Safe and unhindered humanitarian access must be guaranteed. These atrocities would never be possible without the complicity of external actors, including through the supply of armed mercenaries. We condemn all external interference that seek to fuel the conflict in Sudan. Algeria reaffirms its commitment to the sovereignty, unity and territorial integrity of Sudan. We further reaffirm our commitment to a sustainable peace in Sudan that is Sudanese-owned and Sudanese-led. We will stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Sudan.
That was Algeria's representative of the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, Ms. Celia Alwani Arous. At the same meeting, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, has said that the atrocities committed by the Rapid Support paramilitary forces during the capture of al-Fashir in Sudan are a catastrophe that could have been avoided. He has said the responsibility for these atrocities lies entirely with the RSF.
The events that unfolded in al-Fashir in Sudan last October were a preventable human rights catastrophe. After imposing 18 months of siege, starvation and bombardment, the Rapid Support Forces unleashed a wave of intense violence. Thousands of people were killed in a matter of days, and tens of thousands fled in terror. Our collective job is to hold those responsible accountable and to make sure this never happens again. Responsibility for these atrocity crimes lies squarely with the RSF and their allies and supporters. At the same time, the international community must do better. If we stand by, wringing our hands while armies and armed groups commit well-flagged international crimes, we can only expect worse to come. In fact, I'm extremely concerned that these violations and abuses may be repeated in the Kordofan region. Fighting there has intensified since the capture of al-Fashir.
That was the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk. You're still listening to Radio Algeria International. Stay tuned.